There's a road runs through this town, tells a story. It's got me exactly where I'm supposed to be. And if you're thinking of me, well, don't be worried, 'cause I'm as happy as you are, surely soon to see. And I say, come over, just come on over, you'll say. Yeah, I say, come over, come on over, you'll say. Yeah, I say, come over, just come on over, see what we have here. Soon as you get moving, yeah, the sooner I can prove it, yeah. We got fields growing well along the river. There's lots of critters, they blaze a trail through my backyard. And there's trees growing tall which surround me. All this wildlife waiting for you and I to come on board. And I say, come over, just come on over, you'll say.
Good afternoon, ladies, or good morning. This is an abbreviated version of Portland on the Move. We're live here in our Zoom studio at the Portland Senior Center, aka the Waverly Center. And since the Comcast Public Access studio is closed, we thought we would record a version of Portland on the Move. So this is our April show here at Portland on the Move, and I am Dave Kosminski, your host, and with us we've got a couple of guests. We're keeping our social distancing here and so forth, as our first selectman, Ms. Susan Bransfield, and our second segment is going to be our economic development coordinator, Ms. Mary Dickinson. So thank you, Susan, for coming.
Good to be here, Dave. Thanks for hosting.
I appreciate it. I hope your Easter weekend was, you found all the Easter eggs.
I did find them, yes. That was really a good weekend. And the weather, Dave, was just spectacular.
Yes, we couldn't beat it. We couldn't beat it. At least we are being social distancing here in the studio. So so I know there have been some updates over the weekend and so forth. Why don't you give us a little update on a couple of things? I know we wanted to talk a little bit about the interest forgiveness on the tax and the water and sewer.
Why don't we start with that? That's a good introduction, I think, David. Last Wednesday, the Board of Selectmen met and discussed an option that the state, through the governor's executive order, is allowing towns to participate in. The idea is to help our taxpayers weather this terrible pandemic. And the way that the selectmen chose to help in terms of payment of utility bills and taxes is to reduce the amount of interest on the unpaid balances that would be billed between the period of about March 10 through July 1. So for most of our viewers, that will entail their water and sewer bill that is going out today, which is April 13, and their installment for their taxes, which is due July 1. Rather than, if you're unable to pay for up to 90 days, the interest that will accumulate on your taxes is an annual rate of 3%. On a monthly basis, that's 0.25%, as opposed to the annual penalty, which is 18% ordinarily. So I think this will help many of our taxpayers in terms of their ability to pay. If their income and their cash flow is reduced and they wait the 90 days, The interest due will be, as I said, an annual rate of 3% instead of 18%. That also, in terms of the health and the finances of the town of Portland, it means that for those who are able to pay, the cash flow does not stop. Some of the articles that were in the newspaper over the weekend talked about some of our cities that are telling folks they don't have to pay their taxes or the utility bills for a period of time. They have much larger budgets. Their the amounts of money and their cash flow is much different than in a smaller town. So I think it's important to point out that this will directly affect every taxpayer, every utility bill payer in Portland. The option that they may have been reading about in the newspaper was fashioned for those people who have extreme difficulties with their income at this point. So the selectmen decided to go with the interest reduction as opposed to the other option, which they may be reading about, because of the cash flow need and also because it affects every single taxpayer. We don't have to go through any type of an application for this process. So everyone who pays a utility bill and pays taxes is eligible for this. Not only real estate, but also personal property and other types of taxes or fees that they may be owing to the town.
Sure, and by the same token, by doing just only the interest, okay, it's going to help the town maintain its cash flow.
Correct.
To be able to continue on.
Yeah,
with
one of the
business.
things that isn't always discussed in the media is the fiscal health, of course, of the municipality, as well as the fiscal health of our folks that live in the town. So we're trying to balance this, meet the needs of our community in terms of that interest reduction, and also meet the needs of the town. The town fiscally has a 19% fund balance, which means of our budget, we hold about 19% in reserve, in the bank, if you will, in accounts that are safe. Towns are required to keep their money in very conservative accounts. So we do that, and at 19%, that's over $6 million that the town has in reserve, which is for those rainy days that may occur. That does help with some of the cash flow, and it's also important to know that it also helps us in the event that there is a calamity, which in terms of this pandemic, right now, we don't know what's going to be happening over the next several months. We're hopeful that things will begin to open up, Dave, but we're also prepared. And maybe we can talk a little bit about that as the segment goes on.
Sure, absolutely. And I think as this epidemic evolves, and it's a fluid situation all the time, and as you can see, we're maintaining our social distancing and our masks. I hope everybody stayed home and did their quarantining, because it's so important that in this day and age we've come so far, and we don't want to regress back to hopefully opening up too soon, and then all of a sudden we get that second bump, as Dr. Fauci says, as far as that
I
goes.
agree.
So,
I agree.
Anyway, that's great. On the epidemic, then, give us the update on the COVID-19.
Sure. One of the things you just mentioned, Dave, and that is the recommendations for keeping 6 feet or more between yourself and the person that you may be meeting up with or seeing is still in place. In addition, the masks are something that are now a universal request for everyone, children as well as adults, to wear the mask, even if you are, as we are, keeping the 6 feet of distance. It's an additional precaution that I suspect will be in place for quite a few months to come. And it's important to utilize that. I think it's a good thing to do. We also utilize the hand sanitizer and washing our hands, and those things will go on as well. That's a very important aspect of keeping this virus at bay, which is the main thrust. Portland has had over 20, at last count, there was 23 people that had tested positive. And as we know from watching the media, this is not the only number of folks in town that have the COVID-19. It is only those that have been tested and then sent to the state health department for them to then record for us. So we have to be conscious that that is one statistic, but most likely more people have the virus. Either they know they have it or they don't. So that's why these universal precautions are in place to protect you when you don't know you or I may be ill with the virus. It protects you from me, and the mask protects me from you, as well as all the other social distancing procedures that we are going through. Unfortunately, and I always take a pause when I say this, there are confirmed deaths due to COVID-19 of the number 5 in the town of Portland. And within the Chatham Health District, which is how these statistics are reported on one sheet to me every day, Monday through Friday, we are the highest town in our health district for the numbers of fatalities due to this virus. This is something that I think all our viewers know we take very seriously. We take our precautions very seriously, and we also take a moment of pause and remember those who have died. So I think we just take a minute for our neighbors that have passed from this
Absolutely.
illness.
I think one of those, before we take our moment of silence, one of our longtime firemen became a victim and passed away. In fact, his services this morning, Mr. Sal Tutti Petrozello, and he is a matriarch of the Portland Fire Department as well as fire departments throughout the state. So a moment of silence for Tutti and all of the victims who have succumbed to this awful disease. All right. On that note, I think, from that standpoint, I think we've got a couple of things I think that you've been doing, and we've been keeping our citizens informed of. We've been doing our weekly podcast, which is up at our Town Tech podcast studio at the high school. That's been going very well. We record them on Thursdays, and typically we put them up and do the post-production, and they're up on YouTube on Friday or late Friday and so forth. And we've also done the post-production, so the Comcast studio over in Middletown can air it on their Channel 15 channel. So that is on Channel 15, and that airs on Tuesday at 9 a.m. in the morning and 4 in the afternoon. So I don't know. I think the podcasts have been going very, very well.
Yes, I agree. I agree, Dave. It's a way for people to learn some things, not just from the town updates, but I also learned from our Chatham Health District. Russ Melmed, our director, has spoken, as well as our state representative, Christy Carpino, was on last Thursday, and she brought some of the state perspective in terms of this virus, pointing out that the governor has decided that the schools and this distancing, in particular for municipalities as well, will be through May 20. So town offices will be closed to the public at least through that date. We mimic and follow what the schools are doing, and we're consistent with that. So that's important to know. But the podcasts are really another way for us to communicate. In this era, I'm finding it a challenge, but I think the town is up for the challenge. We've issued a newsletter at the beginning of April that's available. Some copies, paper copies, are at the back of Town Hall in a covered box, and you're welcome to take one. It's also available online on our website, and also available at Adams Food Stores. I hope that at the beginning of May, we will also have the second edition to Portland on the Move. We call it, just like the show. So it'll be there as well. And I have a Facebook page for my name, Susan Bransfield, as well as Portland CT for Select Woman. And I try to update people on that. And if anyone has a question, they can also call our landline, which is 860-342-6715. And that's another way to get in touch with us. Communications are important in an era like this. I would also encourage our viewers to make sure that they check and make sure that they're registered with ctalert.com. And that's also on our website. Maybe you could just talk a little bit about our website, because I know you and Kevin Armstrong update our website all the time, Dave.
Sure. Basically, the website is, again, our business cards, if you would, so for the town, any information that you need as far as to do business, and all of the departments are listed on the website, and their contact information. As Susan stated, even though the town hall is closed, business is still being conducted. If you need building permits, or if you need, you just have to make an appointment, or an inspection, and so forth, and those inspections and building permits and business are still being done. A lot of the information as far as in relation to the town clerk's office, all of the vital statistics are available, and fishing licenses, you can get those, and just make an appointment with Ryan as far as that goes. But my assistant Kevin Armstrong is the basically the primary webmaster of the webpage, and so forth. And we put up, obviously, your daily updates on the website. All of the COVID-19 information is there, and information both state, locally, and federally is all up there. So all of that information is just, it's portlandct.org. If you have anything that you feel that we need, contact myself or Susan, and we can get that up there as far as that goes. But the departments are doing business. The transfer station is open. We have now since taken precautionary measures down there so we can open up the bulky waste. So the scale is now open as far as that goes. So those guys down there are doing a great job interacting with the public as limited as possible. So you can go in and you can dump your recyclables, your bulky waste. The only thing that you cannot do there, is I believe is purchase the bags. I think those bags have to be purchased at Adams.
Adams, yep, they're available
as far
there.
as that goes.
Sure.
So, but that I think about sums it up from that standpoint. And again, as the governor says with his executive orders, we're out and hibernating until May 20th. The schools have been working very diligently. I think we're going to be hopefully getting Dr. O'Reilly on for a podcast, and maybe our next month's Portland on the Move to talk about the great job that they're going with the distance learning and getting the students engaged and keeping them engaged and so forth. So you can also talk about the lunch program that they instituted. Yeah,
the lunch program is a wonderful resource for our children, and they are open Monday through Friday. And the families can pick up their lunches for any child under the age of 18. And the lunches are no cost. And we encourage all the children to make sure that they utilize the school lunch program. And it's between the hours of 11 and 1, 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. at the high school at 95 High Street. And also on Riverside Street at Chatham Court is another site. We ask that everyone follow the same precautions, keep 6 feet between you and the person in front of you, and also make sure you're using the hand sanitizer. And it's been extremely successful. Hundreds of lunches on a daily basis are being given out. And it's very important to keep our health and our nutrition up during these stressful days. So I encourage all our parents and guardians to pick up the lunches. And the procedure is that you do go into the school. Anita Bennett had pointed out to me, she's the manager of our Sodexo food service, that they're asking the parents to come into the school one at a time to pick up the lunches and to keep all of the sanitation requirements in place that Sodexo is doing a nice job at providing. Schools are doing a fantastic job in terms of their education, their remote learning, as well as the health and well-being, and through nutrition, it's certainly very important, and I applaud them for that work they're doing.
Yes, I think Dr. O'Reilly and his whole academic team, have done a fantastic job. Many school systems just got their online learning up last week. we hit the ground running.
Yes.
And we've been up for over a month with our online learning, and we have rolled that out outside of the Valley View School. I think every student in the system now has a device from Gildersleeve on up, so which is good. And the teachers are doing a great job in keeping the students engaged and so forth. So
it's good.
Two
other food resources would be, of course, our food bank, which people can call and order food. And Thursdays is the distribution for the food bank. And then St. Mary's Church Youth Group is doing shopping. So if you have a shopping list and you're unable to go to the grocery store or feel uncomfortable going to the store at this time, contact St. Mary's Church, and there is a way for Caroline Thompson, who is heading this up. She's one of the youth. Again, want to give an applaud to Caroline and her work in making sure people get the health and nutrition that they need as well. So those are two other food resources, very, very, very important. You point out, I think, Dave, how important it is for us to always be prepared. And I'll certainly say that our town workers from Public Works, the police, the fire department, our general town staff, the administrators, have done a remarkable job in terms of weathering this COVID-19 pandemic. And it's because they're prepared, because we do have the resources that we need, and we have excellent staff. And I feel confident that we're able to meet the needs of our citizens at this time.
Well, it always takes a captain, and you're the captain, so we're steering the ship in the right direction, so that's half the battle.
We're doing well. And all of our citizens, I can't thank you enough for making sure that you are following all the COVID-19 suggestions, guidelines, and regulations. We will, as they say, get through this, but only together.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you, Susan, and for giving us that update. And we're going to break for station identification here. And in our next segment, we're going to be having our Economic Development Coordinator, Mary Dickerson, is going to give us an update on some of the new initiatives that she has embarked upon throughout the town in the last month or so. So don't go away. We'll be right back here at Portland on the Move.
The Airline Trail is a multi-use trail that is here in Connecticut. The trail in Portland is about 2.5 miles long. However, once it's connected to the East Hampton section, it'll be 25 to 50 miles. There is a section east of Willimantic that goes to Putnam, and it's part of the East Coast Greenway, which is a plan to make these trails go from Maine to Florida. The use of our trail here will be a combination of walking, hiking, jogging, bicycling, horseback riding. Most days when you come here in the parking lot of the head of the trail, there are at least 4, 5, 6 cars that are here. A dozen people or so are on the trail walking or hiking or jogging or biking. So the trail has been very well received by residents and people from the surrounding towns. This first started, our Board of Selectmen in town 4.5 years ago formed a committee of members from the town called the Portland Airline Trail Steering Committee. And our vision was to develop a trail from Portland to move eastward. The committee worked very hard in trying to first get permission to use the property. And the property was owned by Eversource, so Eversource gave us a license. And once we received that license, we then filled out an application for a grant with the Department of Environmental Protection. And then the next step was the committee said we need to select a contractor. Once the contractor was selected, we got to work.
Phase 2 will take us from the current ending point at the YMCA border through the Butler property, down Route 66 into the town of Portland. It's a long-term goal. We have a lot of activities we will need to complete to make that happen. We are also looking at the depot at the intersection of Marlborough Street and Chichito Road that will allow us to have an economic development area for the town of Portland in the future.
It's nice that the Board of Selectmen had the foresight 4.5 years ago to choose a group of people to say, listen, we'd like to have this type of trail. What do you think? How can it be done? and go ahead with it. When we see happy people and children biking and hiking and walking, it's very rewarding for us and also rewarding for the town, because this is a part of Portland's health and wellness initiative.
Lastly, if you'd like to join us and volunteer some of your time, we're always looking for new members to the committee. We also are looking for volunteers to help us maintain the trail. Please look at the webpage. It has all your contact information, or on our Facebook page. We really appreciate all the assistance we've had in the past, but we're looking forward to another 25 years, and we need your help.
Portland's very easy to find on a map. If you follow the Connecticut River, there's a large bend, and Portland is situated within that bend. We're about 20 minutes south of the city of Hartford and about 25 minutes north of New Haven. Again, with very easy access to 91 and 95, it makes it a great community for people to live and come and move with their families or to bring their businesses here. Portland has two commercial sectors. Our Village District designated area begins at the bridge and ends at the post office and goes along our historic Main Street. The buildings are smaller, so we've really strived to come up with a walkable community atmosphere. You can find anything from medical and professional services, retail services, to a wide array of restaurants. Our second commercial corridor is really Route 66. These are larger commercial properties. They're accessed by driving with large parking areas. We have everything there from medical, professional, large grocery stores, gas stations, fuel service stations, convenience stores, to summer type businesses. There's an ice cream shop that's quite popular, as well as summer garden centers. The traffic count on Route 66 is actually quite high. It runs directly off the Aragoni Bridge coming in from Middletown. So we're looking at about 40,000 cars that come over the bridge each day. So it really is quite a high traffic count for such a small town.
Well, I had a bakery in 2000. We started a bakery in Middletown called Malilly Bakery. Malilly is the town I come from. That's why we named it Malilly. And we try to bring most of the stuff from my old place where I was born. Everything is done on premises and with fresh stuff every day. The bakery part of it, we do our own amarettas and a couple other cookies that we do. We also do the cannolis, all our creams. We have Italian bread, we got rye bread, we have French bread. We do an Indian grain bread. We have a deli which has got all my olives, stuffed peppers and all that. The sandwich that I always liked was the, we call it Sebi's Special, which is my favorite, with the fresh mozzarella, prosciutto, the fresh basil. We also do the Sicilian pizzas. We do the scacciatas, which are like stuffed breads. This is all done, learned from cooking from my grandmother, my mother, and everything in the family. Every recipe here is from them. The cold case is going good, the hot lunch is going good, the bakery is going good, the breads are going good. Portland is, everybody talks, it's a great town. It's a wonderful place to do business, and people have been very great and supportive, and I can't ask for any better right now.
F40 Motorsports has been in business in Portland since 2001. My father was in the business, and then I became interested in it, and I took the business over and made it grow into what we have today as F40 Motorsports and F40 Restoration. We restored cars, we restored Ferraris, and brought them to different car shows all across the country, and the word got out that we knew what we were doing. We find the greatest cars in the world, and we sell them to the greatest clients in the world. I moved from Glastonbury to Portland in 1973. I built a home here and was looking for a place to build the business and make it grow a little bit, and building here on Route 66 became available. We're expanding our campus a little bit more by building a new building here within the next few weeks. And so we'll have 3 buildings here on Route 66. We like the location because we're right in the center of the state, and we're also right in the center between Boston and New York. We are dead in the middle, 2 hours exactly to Boston and 2 hours exactly to New York City. We get a lot of fans of the TV show that stop in here when they're visiting New York and they're on their way to Boston. So it's very convenient. The word just got out the other day that we're in 68 million homes here in the United States and 245 million homes worldwide. And with the television exposure, it certainly opened a lot of people's eyes as to where Portland is and where F40 Motorsports is.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back here at Portland on the Move. The Portland on the Move show is an interaction between Portland High School and the Portland Town Hall. This is our April edition, and due to the Comcast studio being shuttered because of our COVID-19 pandemic, we are shooting remotely at our Waverly, aka Senior Center, right here at 7 Waverly Avenue. And with us, we have, for our second segment, our Economic Development Coordinator, Miss Mary Dickinson. Mary has been with the town many, many years and served in a variety of roles, and she wears many, many hats, and I have to say she wears them all very well. So, Mary, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me, Dave.
All right. So, I know you've been working on a lot of the new initiatives and, pertaining directly to this academic. So tell us what's going on.
So I think the biggest thing is making sure that our local businesses that are open, that our customers and our citizens are aware of the hours that they're open and the new procedures. It's important that we all patronize the businesses if we're financially able, but it's also important that we maintain the health and safety requirements that they have instituted. So all of our businesses that are retail have put the 6-foot markers in place. They have limited capacity in their stores. Almost everybody has come up with a unique way to either do curbside pickup or no contact delivery. I think they've done a great job of really pivoting their business model. Unfortunately, we have had a few that have felt that they needed to close, and not just the businesses that were closed by the state order. They just couldn't keep up. So what we've done is we came up with 2 guides, and these will be updated every week. So I don't know if we can get a shot of these. This is the Portland, Connecticut Retail Business Guide. These are only the businesses that are open, and then the instructions of how to do business with them along with the phone numbers. And any citizen that is looking for a product or service, feel free to call them. Our business owners are great. They understand this is difficult for everybody, and they're working with all of their customers and their suppliers. And then we have our restaurant guide. So the restaurant guide is all of the businesses in town that are restaurants that are open and offering food that is ready to eat, and it gives instructions as to how you go about placing an order and picking up your order. So I know a lot of people were very hesitant to do takeout because they didn't know how to pick it up or how to make an order, and so this is really a nice guide that tells people how to do that. In addition, all of our town hall staff is working. Everyone is at their desks, everyone is at their phones, and we have had to become very creative as to how we offer the services that we normally provide. So for those that are aware, if you come into the back entrance of the town hall, to the right of the door is a box that was normally there for dropping off tax payments. We are now accepting all kinds of documentation in that box. So things that need to be delivered to the town clerk's office, building and planning and health department permits are also sent to that box. So the box is checked multiple times a day. As soon as we find something in the box, we call our customers, and we've really been able to find workarounds for pretty much everything that we need to accomplish during the day. So it's been a tough adjustment, but at the same time, it's very gratifying that the people have been exceptionally patient. Everyone has been very kind in giving us the time we need. It sometimes takes a little longer to get things done because we have to do it by mail, or we have to use the box, or we have to leave things on the back wall for pickup. But I think we've been very flexible, and people have just been great.
Yeah, for sure, and it's just a sign of the times from that standpoint. I know in far as a lot of the inspections, the health district has been doing inspections. Lincoln White has been doing inspections, and again, practicing all the safe distancing and the masks and so forth. And all of our staff are basically, due to the governor's order, we're wearing masks now. I have to put a shout out to Miss Claudia Cruz, who has fashioned mine and many others. Claudia and her husband Ephraim and her grandkids have been out there. That sewing machine has been humming. And again, for a $5 donation, which is basically just for the supplies and so forth, you can get yourself a very fashionable mask that you could be comfortable with, and if you have to go to the grocery store and so forth. And again, the stores are accommodating the best that they can. I know Adams this past weekend has now instituted taking everybody's temperature as they arrive and so forth. So everybody is doing their due diligence in relation to keep this pandemic in check, and trying to get that flattened curve out there so we can hopefully sooner than later get back to business here. So as far as that goes. Now, as far as the on the federal guidelines and so forth, Mary, I know you've been in touch with the chamber, and also, so tell us what's happening with the Paycheck Protection Plan and the.
So our federal government passed the CARES Act, which was initially a $349 billion program, and that was designed to help small businesses and to help those who had lost their jobs or were furloughed because of the pandemic. The SBA, the Small Business Administration, had an economic injury disaster loan program, EIDL, that was already in place. And what they have done is they have changed their structure to accept applications for this because of COVID. Unfortunately, this is hitting all 50 states, so they are getting inundated with applications. Connecticut was very lucky. We were the third state to declare a statewide disaster area, so our applicants were able to get their applications in very early. We have multi-times per week, we have updates with state agencies and federal agencies. So all of the economic development professionals across the state are sitting in on webinars, I would say 3 to 4 times per week. There are a lot of changes to these programs, and they're happening very quickly. Those that got their applications in earliest will be reviewed earliest. They're being reviewed in the order that they were received. So the first applications that came in are the first to be reviewed, and this is a nationwide process. So Connecticut businesses, I know it's very difficult to wait, and they expect it would be a 3 to 4 week wait before you would be contacted by a loan officer. But those that put their applications in early, Connecticut was the third state to declare the disaster emergency, so our businesses were able to put that application in early. The Paycheck Protection Program is managed by SBA lenders. So in Portland, that SBA lender is Liberty Bank. So if you apply for this program, you'll be dealing with local people that you know. It's not going to be a phone call coming out of Washington, D.C. It's going to be a phone call from a local lender. Any lender that you work with that is an SBA certified lender, so people work with Bank of America, people work with Wells Fargo, they work with Ion Bank. All of those banks are SBA certified lenders, so they can handle this program. There has been, I'll call them growing pains. Initially, some of the information that came out said that there would be a $10,000 grant available. Then they changed that to it's a $1,000 grant per employee that is retained. Both of these programs are loan programs, not grant programs. So any money that the businesses take will have to be repaid. The interest rate is very low as 0.25%, and the term is as long as 30 years. For the PPP program, the Paycheck Protection Program, and the EIDL, the SBA or the bank will review the information that you provide, normally 3 years of tax returns and financial statements for the business. For the PPP, they're looking specifically at the last 1 year of payroll. They will make an offer to you as how much they are willing to loan you. The business does not have to accept that amount. If they need less, they can take less. And because this is a loan, I urge our businesses to really look at that and make sure that they only take what they need, because interest would be accruing on that and they would have to pay that back. So if you have a business and you have 3 employees or 3 full-time employee equivalents, say 6 half-time persons, you could get up to a $3,000 grant, and then the rest of that money you would have to pay back. There's also been an extension of unemployment benefits. The federal government is now offering a $600 a week benefit. And from what I'm hearing from the clients that I'm working with, the first group of people got the debit cards with money on them on Friday. So it's been a long month to have to wait without a paycheck for a lot of people, but though that unemployment is starting to roll out now, both on the state and federal level. So I'm hopeful that over the next week or two, we'll start to see some of our EIDL loans come through and our Paycheck Protection come through. The state of Connecticut put money forward through their Small Business Development Center and through DECD. And again, this was a program to help small businesses. They were overwhelmed in their first few days. So they did put a hold on new applications, and they tried to get through the backlog. So all of this is constantly changing. The Economic Development Commission manages the Portland, Connecticut Marketplace page on Facebook. It is traditionally a way to promote our small businesses and let people know what they're doing, but we're also using it as a venue for all of the information as it comes in. And it's updated on weekends, it's updated on the evenings. Whenever new information comes in for our businesses, that information is posted there. So it's a good place for businesses and residents to look and keep updated.
Sure, sure. And again, with the governor's executive order on non-essential businesses, I mean, every business is in its own separate situation. I know with myself at the music school, we're non-essential, but we've been it's a one-on-one contact, but we've been able to go with online lessons so people can sign up, still maintain their lessons. We do it via Zoom or Skype as far as that goes, but we've also in the situation of a lot of the stores, we have the curbside pickup. If you need something, or if you want a set of strings, or you need your instrument repaired, you can call us, okay, and we'll be happy to meet you there as far as that goes. And every business is kind of doing the same thing. Meva Burke down at the insurance agency, she's will make an appointment and talk to you. But a lot of the businesses are basically adjusting to their own situation. The pharmacies are all different, and Walgreens is open, but Board and Arrows is curbside pickup. So every business is adjusting as they feel need fit.
And the industries have changed as well. So Symmetry Physical Therapy is down on Main Street, and they have to work with a lot of patients. They're offering telehealth for their patients that have been with them for a long time. Keith the physical therapist there, will work with them and do their exercises via video to make sure that they get through the program they need to for their rehab. Some of our salons, although they can't be open and they cannot be doing haircuts or salon treatments, are selling people the products that they normally purchase, or they're selling hair color kits. So everyone has worked to find the best fit for their customers that they can. Some of our businesses that Tina Martin, who owns Lily Rose Gardens, which is out on Portland Cobalt Road, has been able to bring in fresh vegetables. So not only is she selling garden items and seedlings and plants, but she's been able to bring in vegetables for people that just want to stop in. She's made sure that her doors are open, so you don't have to touch anything to go in. They've put plexiglass around the pay area so that there's no contact. You can pay with a credit card. A lot of people are forgoing signatures on credit cards so that it's no contact. Our businesses have different ways of picking up and dropping off for food service or for any other product. So everyone has really done a great job of trying to find a way to make this fit. But I do have to remind everybody that a lot of our businesses don't have a choice. They cannot be open. And it's very somber to hear that we've lost 5 citizens. And so at the same time, a lot of our businesses have taken to shutting down and losing their source of income as a way to help protect the residents here. So when this is all over and we can reopen, our economic development group is going to be doing a promo to really support these businesses. And my goal is that we don't lose one. My goal is that when we reopen, that every business that we all know and love here in Portland is still here, and that we can go on with our lives and see our neighbors again and get the food that we're used to, have our hair cut where we wanted to, buy gas where we want to, and that we as a community will be the same as we were before.
Yes, yeah, and again, it's all incumbent on everybody to make sure that everybody does their part on staying safe, staying home, because social distancing is just so important as far as in the curbing of this terrible, terrible disease. And unfortunately, the disease doesn't have any boundaries. We don't have state boundaries. We don't have federal boundaries. It is every place. So it is so important that we all adhere to that and, be conscious of that, as far as that goes. So thank you, Mary. Is there anything else that we need to talk about?
No. Economic development at portlandct.org is my email. It's easy to remember. It's on the town website as well. Anybody that has a business in town or has questions even about things like unemployment or the programs that are available, you don't need to be a business owner for that. Email me. Our phone number at Town Hall is 860-342-6741. So they can call, and if I'm on the phone with somebody else, leave a message and I'll get back as soon as I can. You had mentioned earlier Lincoln White, our building inspector, is doing building inspections. That's an essential function. We've had people who have lost hot water heaters, have had furnaces replaced, electrical problems. It's an important function that he go out and do these inspections to make sure that people are safe in their homes. And so when we take an appointment for an inspection, we just ask if anybody is feeling unwell that they cancel that appointment and that they reschedule at a later time. We are working around, so if we have to do something by a video camera or a cell phone camera, we're working to try and do that. But it's important to note that he does have to go into people's homes, so if anyone is feeling unwell, we just ask that you call and let us know, and we will reschedule that, or we will come up with a way that we can complete that inspection so residents of that home can feel safe and secure in their home, and we also keep everyone safe at the same time.
Sure. That's great. That's great, Mary. All right. That, I think, is kind of going to wrap it up here at Portland on the Move. And again, if you have any topics that you would like to come on the show, you can contact myself. It is dkosminski at portlandct.org. Feel free to email me. My phone number is 860-342-6769. So listen to our podcast. This is going to be airing next week at the Comcast Channel 15 channel. And don't forget to listen to our podcasts, which are recorded on Thursdays, and they usually are up on Friday as far as that goes. So on behalf of us, I hope you had a great Easter. You found all your Easter eggs, and I want to thank Mary and Susan for coming on for our April show. And normally our show airs the first Tuesday of every month live at the Comcast studio, but because of the Comcast studio being non-essential, we had to kind of pull an audible here and do a remote shoot at our Portland Waverly Center, aka the Senior Center. So on behalf of us all here at Portland on the Move, hopefully we'll see you next month, and stay safe, stay home, and wash your hands.
There's a road runs through this town, tells a story. It's got me exactly where I'm supposed to be. And if you're thinking of me, well, don't be worried, 'cause I'm as happy as you are, surely soon to see. And I say, come over,